And we are live. Good evening, everyone. This afternoon, I say afternoon because it's 4 o'clock. I said evening, but I'm going to introduce you to one of the new partners and instructors inside of my Tech Academy. He has well over 12 years of experience in the IT field, also known as information technology. We're currently also having a lifetime membership sale going on. We're going to be covering so many new topics inside of my Tech Academy, based around giving you actual, real, tangible skills that you can use to go out here and actually be able to fish yourself. So rather than someone, you know, telling you what cryptocurrency to buy or which play to run, learning how to really structure your own plays and structure your own business endeavors rather than always having to depend on someone else. So we have a new trading mentorship coming up for trading futures. We have the IT course already available right now in my Tech Academy. We have a course on building business credit, and we also have additional courses on fundamental analysis, technical analysis, artificial intelligence, and so much more. Now, going into the individual Chuck, who I'm going to be bringing on in a second, I think that this is very, very important, right? Because you have so many people within our community who they are self-proclaimed experts. They're financial revolutionaries, right? Self-proclaimed. They are financial strategists, right? They're credit gurus. They're master investors. All of these different self-proclaimed titles, but you can't really vet their backgrounds or the information that they're giving you, right? You have to take them at face value because they have a nice car, or because you've seen them saw them on a podcast, or because they may dress, with nice clothing. This is an individual who has 12 years of experience. He has a degree in computer science. This is someone that you actually want to learn from. This is someone that actually can back up the things that they're talking about. This isn't someone who took a Udemy course and they're trying to teach you now by pretending to be an expert. And I think that that's very, very important. Learning from people that actually have real world knowledge and experience. Because I've been telling you guys for a very, very long time, we are going through what is known as the fourth industrial revolution, aka the Great Reset, where all of the businesses and commerce and things that we used to do in the physical world, most of this stuff is moving now to a natively digital world. And in order for you to be able to thrive in this new world that we are living in, you're going to need digital skills, which is why my Tech Academy made that shift now towards really focusing on giving you skill sets that you can leverage and use in the digital world. So whether it's building business credit, whether it's learning how to trade, whether it's learning IT skills, whether it's learning how to code, develop, and program in artificial intelligence, and not even necessarily coding, because a lot of you think that this is all about coding, coding, coding. No, actually teaching you how to use Chat GPT in your day-to-day life so that you can make yourself more productive. So even if you're an individual who you're not good at programming, you can still leverage artificial intelligence. And I think that this is one of the biggest problems that so many people miss, is that we have new technology that comes out, and many of you don't learn how to leverage that new technology and use it effectively. And I think that this is important, that we focus on giving you guys the information that you need so that you could be ahead of the curve. Because there's a lot of people now who just last week they were selling NFT courses, they were NFT experts. Then the week before that, they were Forex experts. Then the week before that, they were selling you gold water. Then the week before that, they were talking about reparations. And now artificial intelligence is the new wave. So everyone's jumping on that. No, I want to put you in front of actual real experts, people who know what they're talking about. And again, this is the evolution of my Tech Academy. So I don't want to hold it up anymore. Let me bring Chuck on. Let me unmute him right here from the back and bring him on. Here's my guy, Chuck. Introduce everyone to who you are, and just tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the industry, and what you currently do for a living.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Eli. And thank you to everybody, my Tech Academy students, people watching, comments this Eli on the YouTube. I appreciate you all for being here. My name is Chuck Wagner. I've been, as Eli has mentioned, I'm a software engineer by trade, but I have 12 plus years of IT work. I've been working in the IT industry since I think my first official job where I got like a paycheck from like, I think was in 2011, working for a certain company. I can't name them, but doing private sector work, essentially working on different things that nature. If you're in the course, you've probably watched my intro video and heard this, but I will reiterate it here. But I spent my younger years learning coding, just doing what I can. I wasn't one of those people who like grew up and like grabbed the coding book at like whatever age. I was one of the people who was interested in it at like in high school, like in like middle school, high school. I was like, oh, like I want to know how to make games, and I was like, how do you make games? Like, you have to like literally go buy like these like soldering irons and solder in together the game. But as I got later, I found I used to need Java and some programming languages, so I built up on that. Wrote my first code, executed it. I think I found a Facebook post from like 2010 that said my
And
first
hold on, I
hello
want to
world.
interrupt you. I want to interrupt you right there, right? Because this is something that's very, very important. It is so much easier today to learn how to program than back when Chuck was learning how to program.
It was difficult.
There's so many resources out here and outlets out here. Can you kind of allude to that too? How it's much easier to learn today than it was when you
Absolutely.
got started?
Absolutely. When I was growing up, there was no Khan Academy, there was no code camp, there was no W3
Mhm.
schools, there was no Monte Academy, there was no Google. There was Google, but I lived in Nigeria. I didn't even have Google. I didn't have the internet when I was growing up. Like I genuinely didn't have the internet until I came to America. So I was learning how to use computers by literally just breaking them. Like my dad would go buy a computer from like the local person that sells parts down the road. We put it together, and like 2 weeks later, I broke it. And I literally we that was it. If you broke it, you had to fix it, or you had no
Mhm.
computer. So literally, like, I didn't even have Google to look up, like, oh, don't like short this thing to here. So Eli's absolutely right. Like right now, you could in an hour, you could learn more about programming than I did in like 3 years when I was starting. I'm not even joking. That's not even a bad figure. That's like a genuine like. I did the math and I was like, oh, there's an hour course on how to like properly stack your JavaScript queries and your CSS so that it works on a web page. I spent years trying to dealing with issues with little things. So I want you guys to know that you're in a very special place where you can actually learn. There are people out here who struggle through these things, who have like figured out the best ways to like learn a fast and
And that's key. That's very key right there because understand the whole purpose of paying someone to teach you is for them to reduce the learning curve for you, for them to simplify things. Because you always hear people say, oh, I could just go on the internet and find that for free. You can until you run into a bug or until you go and you try to download a repo and you're wondering why you keep getting a bunch of errors and you can't actually complete the project that you downloaded off of Udemy or the project that you're following someone on YouTube and you're wondering why the packages are not working and you're driving yourself crazy. That those hours that you're spending scouring the internet, you can remove that by paying someone to give you the information and point you right to the information. Because I say this all the time, the most valuable asset and resource you have is your time. Because number one, you don't know how much of it you have. And number two, once it's spent, you can't get it back. So when people try to talk to you about, oh,
Oh no, I believe Eli might have just dropped. If you can hear me, let me know if I'm the
those,
one coming on.
am I back now?
You're back now. You're back
Yeah, I
now.
cut off
Yes,
for a
yes,
second. You will go from from tutorial to tutorial, and you'll
yes.
spend your life cycle in tutorial hell. When you join things like My Tech Academy, you are getting directly to the information that you need. So therefore, you can go and start being productive, and that's what Chuck is here to do. Now, with that being said,
Yes.
Chuck, what are some of the programming languages that you are good at and that you have used and programmed to build projects with?
Whoa, man, it'd be easier to say which ones I haven't used, but that besides that, like this joke, I am genuinely being serious. Like, I think
Mhm.
my biggest skill so far, and this is gonna sound crazy, but it's the one that I'm gonna teach in the next little section of the thing, which is bash scripting. And the reason why I say that is because it's like the core. It's like the literal before you get to machine language and the ones and zeros and the little like executions. That's where you can actually do. You learn how to use the Linux system the way you can. You just learn to automate as many things as you can. So I have a really good thing with Bash. When it comes to like programming language and not just scripting, JavaScript, C++, C, I don't like saying C because I've fallen out of like of scope into using like memory management. So Java, JavaScript, Python to a certain degree. Um, there's so many. But really, all of
And
those
that's good.
skills
Yeah,
that's a
but
very
that's good
small
enough
subset.
right there. Yeah, but think
And
about it. That's good enough right there because you got JavaScript, you got Python, and you have scripting.
yeah, that's all you need, really. I want everybody in here to know that you don't need to know every language. You just need to know one. And I'm being genuinely serious. If you learn one language, but you learn it very, very, very well, there's no other language in the world, and I mean no other programming language that you will not be able to pick up. Like if you learn Java all the way, you can take that Java and go back and learn C. You can take the Java and run JavaScript. Like it's less about the language and about the fundamentals and the structures, the data structures, the algorithms. Because unlike the English language, which is constantly changing, programming has not changed. It's iterated, but the core is all the same. So and that's what I want to teach people is that you don't have to go find another shiny language because it doesn't matter if you don't know the fundamentals. That shiny language is going to be more abstraction that you don't understand. Like you need to understand why things work, and then from why things work, you know how things work, and then once you know how and why things work, you know it. Like those are the two things you really need to know about everything. And
Yeah,
that's
because I
what
always tell people when you program, if you focus on the fundamentals, understanding data structures, understanding algorithms, understanding conditionals, if then statements, etc. If you can understand those basic things, how to program properly, good code, how to write clean code, you could pick up any programming language within a matter of 2 to 3 weeks or a
yeah,
month if you're really a good programmer. Because at the end of the day, understand that programming languages are just tools, right? Now you use different tools for different jobs. So there's certain programming languages that may be good for applications, and then there may be other programming languages that are better for web pages and websites and web applications, right? So once you understand that there are tools, like for example, you have a hammer and you have a
mhm,
screwdriver, and then you have a drill, right? And then you have different drill bits. You may have a Phillips head, a flathead, so many different tools that you may have, because understand if you were going to cut down a tree, you wouldn't use a knife, right? You would use some type of a saw machine, right? So understand what different programming languages are used to tackle different tasks.
absolutely. And that's something I actually literally mentioned in the intro to the course that we're putting out right now is that applies to everything in computer science and technology. Is that it's all just what screwdriver and what screwdriver and what bit do you need to use for this project. Like I have a project right now that I am building that requires me to link like Clover, like the point of sale system with like a WordPress thing, and one uses PHP, one uses JavaScript for the API, and because I know how both those languages work underneath everything, I just wrote a middleware that combines the two and just saves time. And that saved me months of learning either language because I was like, oh, I know this API is giving out this data point, and I know this entry is respecting this enter point, and just literally write the code that would just stitch the two together. And that's a lot of what programming is in this day and age. You're stitching things together because you're not reinventing the wheel. The wheel's been made. You're trying to just figure out what now we're doing like the Ferrari thing. We're trying to figure out what can we chip off this wheel to add an extra zero point 0.1 seconds of speed to our lap. Like that's where we're at right now in in computer science. This is not my home. I saw someone put that in the chat. This is a background.
But also,
uh,
too, I want to build on that too, right? Because I initially met Chuck at the Bitcoin conference
right.
down in Miami. And at the time, I was trying to, the documentation for Pocket Network was an absolute mess. And
Ooh,
I was looking to run some nodes for Pocket Network. And then that's when me and Chuck, we linked up. And kind of getting back to why you should be joining My Tech Academy or any academy or picking up these skills. Chuck has the ability because he has a skill set that he lives in Florida. I live up here in New York. He already has a job, but he's also freelancing as an entrepreneur. I want you to think about how much leverage that is, where he has a 9 to 5 job that he's working remotely from home, right? He's
mhm,
not working in the office. So he's comfortable in his home working. And while he's working on the 9 to 5 job, he's also being an entrepreneur and working with me and consulting and setting up a node. And I think that so many of you miss this. And this goes back to why picking up these digital skills are so important, because we are in the fourth industrial revolution, where therefore those who have skills, who know how to properly leverage the internet, especially tech based skills, you can literally print money on demand. Because
Absolutely.
the better programmer you are, the better you are at IT, the better you are at content marketing, whatever the case may be, the more editing videos, all of these things are in demand skill sets that you can easily make six figures. So now understand, like I said before, and I'm gonna let Chuck build on this a little bit in a second, but this is important. He's an entrepreneur at the same time as working a job. So when you have these type of skills, you can work anywhere in the world as long as you have internet connection.
Yes. And that is my that is why I do what I do. Is because I have the ability, if I need to hop on a plane to go see family in a different state, I can do that and I'll still be able to work and do everything within that. Maybe different time zone, but even then it means I have more time in certain cases, right? Like it's invaluable. Sorry, one second.
Yeah, no problem.
It's invaluable how the amount of freedom I get with being able to work from home. And the fact that when I was going to school, working from home wasn't like a thing. That was like a unicorn you found in the industry back, like, this is like, well, now, wow, 10 years ago. About 10 years ago now, like it was like it was an actual unicorn. But now it's like the standard. Like if you go out right now and you sign for my academy, you learn the basic of IT, you go through and finish the rest of the courses that are in there, right? And then you go and you go and take these certs, like the sec A plus, if you still feel like you need more help, the sec plus if you need the sec plus, and taking some of the Google and Azure and AWS courses. You can take those skills, not even need a degree. Go out and make something, build like a website, build something on AWS that you can have tangible and take to an actual company. Like when in our course, because this is a growing course, at some point there will be a project where you have to build something. It has to be live. Like for you to pass the IT tech my tech academy course, you will have to build something. That thing will have to be live, because when you leave this course, I don't want you to be like, oh, I took a course. I want you to have a tangible piece of evidence that you learned something. I want you to have a tangible piece of evidence that you can take to a recruiter, a hiring person, even a potential client, honestly. Because if you want to freelance, you can do that too. Be like, hey, I built this. I learned the skills from the ground up, what I need to do to build and maintain this. Here's how I'm going to charge you this much amount to maintain this, because I have these skills and I have this time for you. That is what that's the point of this course. Like I'm not even here to like tell you're going to get this. I'm here to give you the skills that can improve upon the next portion of your life, because literally it's just, once you have these skills, they don't go away.
They,
They don't go
and
away.
that's something beautiful that you just said there, right? Because what people don't understand about life, your earning potential is directly correlated to the value that you bring to the marketplace. And the reason why so many of you are not earning the type of money that you want to earn is because you don't have enough value in the marketplace. Now, how do you increase your value? By picking up more skills. See, understand, when I first got started as an entrepreneur back in 2008, during the financial collapse, I had no skills. I was still in college at the time. I believe back then I was a freshman in college, right? Like literally, I had no skills whatsoever, but I was hungry. And then understand, guess what's happened? I got introduced. At first, I was playing basketball. I thought I was going to go to the NBA. Once I realized that that wasn't a realistic solution, then what did I do? I got involved in entrepreneurship. I got involved in a network marketing company where you get three, that get three, that get three. Guess what? I got my three, that got three, that got three, but they couldn't duplicate me. So then guess what I did? Instead of quitting, like most people, I said, okay, it's working for other people. Let me figure out a way to get it to work for me. So then I went online and I started learning about online marketing, which then led me to affiliate marketing, which then led me to buying gold and silver, which then got me involved in crypto in 2012, which then got me involved in selling t-shirts on Teespring, which then got me involved into coding and programming, which then got me involved into working in investment banking, right? So many different things led me down that path. But here's the key thing. I got started and then I started stacking skills. That's similar to how technology works. First, you may learn about HTML. Then you're going to learn about CSS. Then you're going to learn JavaScript. Then that's a front end. Then you're going to learn about a back end. Then you're going to learn about server side stuff, right?
Yep.
And then you're going to start learning about Linux. But understand these skills, you start to stack them, like Chuck said, stitch them together. And before you know it now, within a 3 or 5 year period, you go from earning $30,000, $40,000 to a year to earning $250,000 a year. This is how you get to that point, by stacking different skills. Because again, many of you think that you need a college degree, and you really don't. Coding is similar to like trading is, like a professional athlete. You eat what you kill, right?
Yes.
And you have to take your fingers and put them on keys. You can watch all the tutorials. You
Mm-hmm.
can, read all of the books. At the end of the day, if you are not taking these fingers and putting them on keys and problem solving, it doesn't matter. And I want Chuck to build on that in regards to, how do you feel about people who think that they need a college degree in order to get into the tech industry?
I'll be honest with you, frank with you. I got my degree. I haven't been asked for it once. I wasn't asked once. I don't know how else to put it other than that. Like I think they asked, hey, have you taken this course? And it was just like, it literally was the name. He named the course you could take online. He didn't name the class I took, and I was like, oh, I didn't even need this. You really, honestly, it's less, especially in today. Companies aren't even asking for degrees anymore because they seem it to be some kind of, like, it can be an insult in some cases because you don't need it. Some of these amazing developers and the designers, people who built these huge companies and these big things, they didn't have a degree. They had the skills. They just didn't take biology too. I didn't like biology too. Literally in my thing, I say you're here because you want to learn this. You don't want to take biology. And this is not the same thing wrong about biology. It's a really important thing. But if that's not what you want to do, spending the time that you need in school is not going to help you. School is an incubator. It's just an incubator for life. All you're doing there is you're giving you a controlled environment where you can fail. Like in life, you can't really fail very much, but in college, you can fail all the time. You can
Exactly.
withdraw, retake the class. All it is literally just preparing you for life. So you don't, if you're already in life, you're already living, if you're already like 5, 6 years out of school, whatever, you've already gotten the experience that you probably could get from college. The only thing you're missing is probably connections, and you're here in this YouTube and this Monte Academy thing. You're already taking the steps to make that connection, being in these groups, being in these groups. Group learning is a very important part of what's going on at my 9 to 5 job. That's how most people learn. It's just someone gets in a room at lunchtime and they give us a presentation on how this thing works, and that's how everybody else learns about it. You don't have to go to college for that. You can just do that anytime. So
Yeah. And also, too, I want to continue to build on that, because that's exactly how the trading course is going to be. Most of the learning that you're going to get with the trading course, like I can show you setups all day long, but you're going to watch me trade those setups live. You're going to, and then what's going to happen is you're going to be trading alongside me, meaning that you may be trading, excuse me, the Dow, and I may be trading the S&P. We're trading two different markets, but we're seeing different setups. But see, a lot of same thing with coding and programming. A lot of it's pattern recognition. Like when you see a bug, over time, right? If you solve that bug before, it becomes second nature. You know exactly where to go, which line it is, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom, and it's done. Trading's the same way, right? I see a flag pattern, I automatically know, okay, what's going on? Okay, I see price get up to the volume weighted average price. I see selling coming in, I automatically know get short, load up, right? But I know these things second nature because I do this every day. But when you're learning in a group setting, this is very, very important, because you're going to go through imposter syndrome. This is one thing that all people face, and especially as
yeah,
adults, because as we get older, we tend to shy away from things that challenge us intellectually, mentally, right? Because we like to know. We don't like feeling like we don't know. And you're going to go through days where you're going to say to myself, oh man, my favorite show's on TV. Man, I don't want to sit to listen to Chuck talk for the next hour. But by being in that group and seeing other people start to get success, or other
mm-hmm.
people actually go through those challenges, it's going to encourage you to push forward and go through. And that's the power of a group setting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad you expounded on Eli, because that's the most important thing. Is because I didn't. Here's the thing about college, right? I didn't do well in college until I started learning in group. Like there are people who like say, "Oh, I'm going to college to do everything on my own." Those people they're out there. They're one in a million. They could let them do that. But for everybody else, we learn better in groups. Society has always done better when groups come together and did things. That's just how society's built. That's what society literally is. It's just a group of people coming together and doing something, right? It's not like there's no
Hmm.
individual society. Um,
Yeah.
so it's really important that you guys understand that, and I'm glad we expanded on that. And I do want to answer like two questions we have in here, and I
Okay.
want it's something the one and only said is that there's a notion that there's not enough black people in the space, and that is both true and not true. There is there is a number of black people in the industry, and they are out there, but there's not enough of us, and that's why I'm doing this. Is that when you learn these skills, you can take these skills and go join the force because I will be honest with you, you right now, by just taking this course, will know more than half the people who work with me. And that's not even a joke because it's just there are people who work in links every day that have to come back and ask me, "Hey Chuck, how do I find out who's on the system right now?" That's one of the lessons I have in the course. I tailor this course to be like surgical, not just a breath. It's like a very surgical attempt at getting you the information you need, just what you need to get started. And I'm hoping from there we're going to build out to this expansive field of knowledge that you'll be able to traverse when you have a chance to. But at least to
I want
start,
to build on that too with the black issue, right?
yes,
Because okay, here's something that many of you um miss, right? Going back to the fact that you can work remotely and you can freelance. When
yes.
you have tech-based skills, you don't even have to reveal your face.
No one knows who I look like. Oh my
There's a
god.
website called Upwork, literally, where
Yeah.
people can sell their time. They charge their price. They make a bio. It's for freelancers. There's a site called Fiverr where people work with for Fiverr as well. They don't know that you're black. You can put up an image of someone else. So this idea, see, this is the problem. Many of you, you're approaching things looking for problems instead of approaching things looking for solutions. We
Yep.
understand that racism and prejudices exist. I would never sit up here and say to you that they don't. That's human nature. But when you have tech-based skills, you can circumvent most of that because you can work in a way where people don't even have to ever see your face.
Yep.
Like understand. Here's the thing, right? Me and Chuck, we're trying to figure out Pocket Network. We cannot figure out. I think we were having problems with the DNS, right?
DNS. Yep.
Right, with the DNS, right? So Chuck goes, I know a guy. He gets on the phone. He hits up one of his friends. I don't know who this individual is. Never seen this guy a day in my life. He could have got on a Zoom call and never showed his face and just did the work. Because at that point, I didn't give a damn what color he was. I needed him to solve a problem for me, right? So I
Yes.
think that many of you miss these things, right? Because you're basing it off of the perspective that you live and see every day because you're not in the technology field. I am in the technology field,
You see
and
it.
I can tell you, I see it time and time again. If you have skills and a person has a deadline, they don't give a damn how you look. They want to make money, right? And I
Yep.
think that this is
Bottom
one of
line.
the biggest problems that we have. You see, many of you are approaching this from the standpoint of you're trying to get a job. Well, guess what? If you knock on one door and it doesn't open, there's
Yep.
100 other doors. See,
Right
the
down the street.
problem is many of us is that we want that one door that we knocked on because we put on our best Easter outfit to open up.
Yep.
Sometimes, right, you're being blocked by that door for a reason. God is blocking that door to set up an even better door for you. Like I said
Absolutely.
before, listen, man, I went through the stair step fashion to build my success. I took 2 steps up and 3 steps back, 4 steps up, 5 steps back. Sometimes you may have to take a step back to kind of look back to get a wider perspective, a wider viewpoint. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the problem for many of you. You read these articles, you follow a lot of these race hustlers online, and it becomes an echo chamber that you're black and you can't get anything. Yet there are black people all around you that are proven to you. Chuck is one of them. This is the black man standing in front of you, right? This isn't Uncle Ruckus that has revitiligo
No,
that thinks he's white, right? This is the black
yeah,
man in front of you
the
that
big
works in
black man.
technology. Prime example, another person, Bees. We met Bees. I met
Yeah.
Bees down at the Bitcoin conference. She's in the technology field. If you actually get involved in the field, you would see there are many of you. But see, this is one of the problems that I ran into in college when I was going to school for financial engineering. You would go to these math classes and these calculus classes and these science classes, and it was filled with nothing but Asians and Indians. The problem is that we have to start asserting ourselves and putting ourselves in the conversation. The same thing with blockchain technology. At the
Yes,
Bitcoin conference,
man.
you know how me and Chuck linked up? Because
It
me,
was
me and Tony was in there. It was like, damn, there's no black people here. We're at the Bitcoin conference and there's no black people there, because this goes back to what I was saying before. When you're dealing with many black people, if it's not packaged like a rap video, if it's not packaged like a hip hop conference, if it doesn't have some conspiracy theory or some gimmick attached to it, we don't want to do it. If it's not doing it for the culture, then all of a sudden we go, nah, I'm not looking at that. That's not corny. You know what I'm saying? That's not real nigga enough. And we got to get out of that mindset.
you got
The
to adapt.
world is changing. Adapt or die. It's really that simple.
It's unfortunate, and we'll get into the AI talk very soon. But that AI stuff is going. Imagine what we just said, right? We just said you don't have to let anybody know what you look like. It's to the point now where you don't even have to potentially be in the room. You can just program the thing that's going to be in the room, and that's going to do it for you. But like, it's insane. I want you all to really realize the era we are in. We have the closest thing to a natural learning language out here right now, like that can help you do these certain things. If you had told me this when I was in college, I would have told you have 30 more years to go. That was 10 years ago. But really, and that tells you how quickly we have hit these things. Like the industries, and I want to just close off the top off the race thing is like I work in my 9 to 5. My current team that I've been with for most of the year don't know what I look like. I met them at a luncheon a year into me working this program. I mean, a full year into me working this program. And they're like, oh, who's, they're like, we're looking for Chuck. And I was like, I'm right here. And they're like, oh, that's, it was so wild. I've been working with
Yeah.
you for a full year. And just, we just have like phone conversations. We don't have like the video. So it was kind of funny to think, you don't even have to know what they look like. Take your picture off. Here's the thing. Go take, if you don't believe this, take your picture off of LinkedIn and then keep your same skills. See how it changes. It's literally just they don't care what you look like. All they care about is your skills. All they
Yeah.
care about is can you get the job done.
And one of the most important things is when you go for tech interviews, they sit you down there. They're going to ask you some technical questions and whether or not you can solve this problem. And that's all they care about, because understand, in the technology industry, look at some of the world's largest companies. If you go back to the bubble, look at the market caps of Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix, Zoom. It was all technology. That is coming back, right? So understand, when it's that type of money on the line, people don't give a damn about how you look, because at the end of the day, money, everyone needs it. They don't care what color you are. They need that green dollar. Start focusing on income producing skills. Now, the next question that I want to ask you before we get into the artificial intelligence, because we're going to wrap it up with that, is number one, what certifications do you currently have?
Yep.
And what certifications do you feel are overrated or just outdated?
So right now I have A plus, Psych plus. I have AWS, the cloud, all the basic cloud ones. I have that for pretty much all the different cloud providers. I have the red, and the one I have that I kind of have the most like that I learned the most from was Red Hat Enterprise System, and that's something that I'm going to impart on you, so you don't have to actually go through all that stuff. The ones I would say you don't need is if you have an inclination to learn technology or learn what you're doing, you can instead of taking a the A plus, you can even just skip that. Take a course like our IT and the fundamentals course, and go really like mess around with some like servers, and you'll gain in a quarter of the time you will spend reading through the A plus study guide, which is just telling you certain little minute things. You can learn all those things on your own with just following our MyTech Academy course and just playing around with what you need. And the best part is, instead of just reading a book, you'll have something to show because you built something. That's the important thing is you will have built something. It's not about reading the book. Like you can read all you want, but it's you gotta put pen to paper. You gotta put your fingers on the keyboard, because you're not gonna retain anything until you build something. You got your brain is wired to fix something to a certain degree, right? You can't fix a book. You can't fix what you're reading. You can fix what you're working on. You can't fix your reading. So that's why I want you guys to definitely, if anything, part anything, build something. Leave with nothing else. Go build something and learn and really enjoy it. Building, you think of a crazy idea. If it's already been built, Like, let's say you want to build something like I want to build something that just keeps track of my day. There's a million apps for that, right? You can go pick up one of those, or you can go write your own, and you'll be able to impart the certain little minute things that you need. And who knows, that minute thing that you did might be the $1 billion crack on the thing. Because again, Dubsado, what's called Dubsado is a tool that just links on top of QuickBooks, and they're making millions,
Yeah.
millions a month.
And I want to go back now to, before we get into the artificial
Yeah,
intelligence conversation, going back to when he's talking about putting your fingers on the keys. For
very
example,
important.
I play basketball, I play sports, right? It's very easy to watch LeBron James dunk the basketball or watch Mike Tyson box. It is a different thing when you're on the basketball court. You got a 6'8", 250-pound man coming at you full speed. Or
Mm-hmm.
you got Mike Tyson and he's ducking back and forth when he's coming at you, right? See, a lot of times we think that we can kind of like learn through like osmosis or just kind of being around something. No, you learn through repetition
Yep,
by constantly doing things over and over and over again and problem solving. It's the same thing with trading. The way that the trading course is set up is that the more screen time you have, the better trader you're going to be. It's the
yep,
same thing with coding. The more projects you build, the better developer you're going to be. It's the same thing with IT. The more problems you solve,
the
the
better
better that
you
you're
will
going to
be.
be at IT solutions. It's no way around it, right?
Yep,
Malcolm Gladwell in the book Outliers talked about 10,000 hours to being a professional, right? Like when you see Kobe Bryant and he talks about the fadeaway shot, he's perfected that shot because he went into the gym and he's probably shot that shot probably millions of times, literally millions of times. So that one time that you see him perform that shot and hit it, he's gonna put it in his mind that he's made that shot over and over again, and that's how you build confidence. Again, when you guys see me up here speaking, you say, how are you so knowledgeable? How do you know all this stuff? You know how? Because I watched the documentaries, I read the books, but more importantly, I went out into the real world and I did a lot of these things and I tried a lot of these different things, which is why I know what works and I know what doesn't work, which now leads us to the artificial intelligence conversation.
yes,
Because I think that this is going to be very, very important. Number one, you have a lot of people out here now that are jumping on this wave because it triggers the algorithm. So they're
mm-hmm.
putting up a bunch of reels showing Terminator, showing the robots, and
Yep,
they're gonna come, or iRobot's going to happen all over again. And what a lot of people don't understand is most of the artificial intelligence that exists out here today is nowhere near on that level.
not
That
even close.
world, that apocalyptic scenario that they're talking about is well 10, 15 years out into the future. Here's the reality. When you look at Chat GPT, it is just a bunch of conditional statements, if
Mm-hmm.
then statements. You ask a question, they query it, they go pull the information, and they give you that prompt. That's really all it is. It doesn't actually store the question and then build upon that as if you and I were having a conversation. Artificial intelligence isn't there right now. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be disruptive. It's going to be extremely disruptive. But whenever there's a disruption, there's a wealth transfer. That means that wealth is leaving from one sector and going somewhere else. Wealth is never destroyed, it is just transferred. Like
Yep,
back, for example, if you go back and you look at how the internet used to be structured and how media used to be structured before, everything had to flow through New York, everything had to flow through LA, everything was about a talk show, a radio show. You had to go on the news. That's what media was about, catalogs and magazines. And then the internet came, but the internet wasn't ready then, right? Because bandwidth wasn't good, wasn't cheap enough, right? You didn't have cheap enough hardware. Now, because everyone is walking around with one of these, everyone's a
yep,
content creator, everyone's a media personality now. So it dramatically changes the entire landscape. So all of that wealth that was in the media, corporate media's hands, and magazines like Ebony and Jet and Essence and all that, they're irrelevant now, right? Because everyone's a content creator right now. Everyone can write to the internet. You don't need a blog site anymore because you have your social media platform. That's the evolution. The same thing is going to happen with artificial intelligence. A lot of the wealth, like, so for example, if you don't know how to leverage artificial intelligence and use it to be more productive, then yes, you will lose your job, right? So this is
mm-hmm.
why now it's important where if you don't have tech skills, you need to be focusing on how to leverage the technology? And I'll let you build on that.
No, that's the most important. That's the most important thing. And Eli hit the nail on the head. It's just think of what's going on right now is the the AI we have right now. In the simplest term, is it's just like imagine you're talking to a baby, right? The baby only knows what you give it. Now that baby could grow and learn over the course of like years, learn things, impart things, but it's still just a reflection of you. It's not anything. It's not smarter than you. It's not gonna overtake you. It's you're training it. What AI is right now is just a bunch of babies. They just gave a bunch of babies out to everybody. It's like that thing they gave you in high school. They gave you a bag of
For
flowers
a
and it's a baby.
second,
AI is
we're
just that
back.
bag of flowers.
You froze up for a second.
Oh, I
You,
did.
you froze up for a second. Repeat that again. You said
No,
it's a
no, no,
baby, basically that you're training it.
AI is basically a baby, right? It's just a blank slate that happens to have access to what it can. It
Mhm.
all it does is take, like you said, if this then that. Like it's like, okay, if I need to go on a trip today, where would I go? And then it go finds those trips for you. That's all it's doing.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
actual AI
Now,
would be
again,
like,
over time, it's going to evolve. Though over time,
gonna go
AI will evolve, but we're
to a certain
way out
point.
from then.
Right now, it's we're in the kind of the split point where you know what you're seeing right now in the next 5 years is going to be insane, right? But you have the opportunity right now to be a part of that insane change in 5 years. You could learn
Thank you.
how to use this too, because it's only going to get better, more abstract, and more layers at the top of it. You want to be the bottom layer where you can make the most amount of money. The bottom layer always makes money. Servers always make money. Servers are the bottom layer of cloud. They always make money. Amazon bought the bottom layer of cloud. That's why they're never going to go out of business. You have the opportunity to get the bottom layer of data right now. This is the bottom layer of the future of data. All AI is going to be controlling so much data for in the next couple of months, next couple of years. You have an opportunity to learn how to program it. You don't even know how to. You don't even know. You don't even know how to code. All you need to know is know how to use logic. That is all you need. Like we can't do an example right now, but right now you can.
I'm going to show an example right now that's very powerful of
Oh
how
yeah, go
people are
ahead.
leveraging artificial intelligence right now. So, right now, when you see clips like this
Oh yeah, those are good.
on Instagram, let me tell you what someone is doing. They are using artificial intelligence to go and source the B-roll.
Yep.
So they're going into the prompt. They're saying, so for those of you who don't know, B-roll is the video footage that I'm showing you right now. This is just stock footage right here, right? So what they're telling the algorithm to go and do, the prompt to go and do, go get me B-roll of people on beaches driving nice cars. And the artificial intelligence literally can give you a 90-second clip of 4K, 8K video footage
Yep.
and the dimensions that you need it, right? So now understand, it can give you 100 reels. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. How you
Not
can, so
hard.
again, no coding. You can go into the prompt and you can type, give me 90-second clips of people living luxurious lifestyles. You're typing this into the prompt, and the prompt's going to give you a 90-second reel, right? It's by with the proper Instagram dimensions and everything that you need.
Yep.
And then what you go and do, right? You can go and then go and get clips of Andrew Tate, right? The
Yes.
artificial intelligence literally will go get the actual clips of Andrew Tate speaking,
Just
and it will be
together.
able to sync it up for you and put it together. So when you go to these pages are being someone is leveraging artificial intelligence to create this content, right? It's very, very simple. Going out here creating content. You see people using it to make deep fakes, right? Where basically they're taking their audio and they're putting it into a generator, right? And what happens is that the AI starts to learn your voice. And then now what they can do is take your voice and turn it into Donald Trump's voice,
Yep. And to build on
right?
that is you got it. Those videos. Here's a really crazy trend that's going crazy. Is people are taking these AI. They're taking regular conversation that people have, and they're using AI to put those into voices of presidents and put them in these groups and make them play games and do have conversations. And people aren't seeing what the level of, I would even say, manipulation to a certain degree that's going you can do right now. If you are smart enough, you can position yourself right now as a power person, right? Based on the kind of things you can build with AI. Like being able to take a video and take a concept, put it together and have the AI put it together in such a way where you can put 100 of them out. Stagger those out. Within a month, you are now the expert on that thing because the algorithm is going to push those videos because you're being consistent. You're putting the same content, people are enjoying it, and you have
Mhm.
spent 5 minutes of your time to put this together, and now you have a year of content you can put out, or at least a couple months.
Another thing people are doing. So now, see, one thing about me, I can dissect a lot of bullshit that people start doing. Now, all of a sudden, everyone, they're relationship gurus and experts. So now people are putting out tweets. They're
Mhm.
having captions with like long paragraphs of captions. Do you think that they're writing that themselves?
You're not right there.
No. They're going to things like ChatGPT, right? They're using things like Dolly to get the actual graphics and templates and things that they need, right? And diffusion. They're using all of these different artificial intelligence tools to get the thumbnails for themselves, to get the proper images, and to get the captions. So when you see these well put together captions and they have the bullets and they have the hyphens and the dashes, they didn't write that. Artificial intelligence did that. And the artificial intelligence can take one piece of content and give you 50 tweets,
Yeah.
right? Because they can repurpose it so many different ways. So understand that a lot of these people who you think are relationship gurus and experts all of a sudden, no, they understand how to leverage the technology to get out in front of people. So when Chuck is talking to you about the fact that you can leverage this technology, listen, we are in the matrix in
Yeah,
real time.
like real
This is a
time.
matrix, right? Everything around you in a digital world is an algorithm. And if you understand the code, how to exploit these things, you become very, very powerful. This concept, see, I tell you guys all the time, I don't want to be Neo. I don't want to save the world because Neo was just a form of the program, right? He still was a part of the system. He just didn't even know it. He was a part of the system for those that will reject the programming. The whole concept of the one, Morpheus, was just a certain percentage of people will reject the system's programming.
You want to be the
I
system.
want to be the Merovingian.
Yep.
I want to be an individual that can control the dominion around me, to have the proper resources. And because these algorithms are programmed by humans, therefore they can be exploited by humans. And when you understand how to leverage the system, you become extremely important. And that's what I want to, in closing, the whole purpose of my Tech Academy and why I'm restructuring everything is focusing on giving you those digital skills that you can leverage in this natively digital world. So going back to how I was saying to how Chuck literally is working a job and also being an entrepreneur at the same time. That's how you build generational wealth. You know why? Because your job is your first investor. And then now when you're freelancing and you're making extra money on the side, that gives you more investable capital to build generational wealth. So you don't got to go out here and take out a bunch of debt and try to listen to a financial revolutionary or strategist who's telling you to run an Airbnb or Toro play. I'm not going to teach you to go commit bank fraud and
No.
go get yourself in debt. No, I'm going to teach you how to get some skills so that therefore you can earn some income and now you have investable capital. Because understand that when you're taking out large amounts of debt, you have to pay back that debt. And if
Eventually.
you don't have skills to pay back that debt, then what's the point? So I'm not speaking to those of you who are looking for free lunch. I'm speaking to those of you who are saying, I'm on a 3 to 5 year mission to learn and build myself mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, and emotionally. If that's who you are, my Tech Academy is for you. We're going to give you skills on IT, skills on programming, skills on artificial intelligence, skills on trading, skills on how to build business credit ethically,
Yeah.
safely, healthily, not teaching you how to know no scammy stuff, no police affidavits, but just real stuff that actually works so that you can go out here and build yourself up. Because now when you have tech based skills, you can work anywhere in the world. And this is why, rather than me trying to be a jack of all trades and teach everything, I went out and I got people like Chuck and I got people like Bruce who are experts in their respective fields so that therefore we can all learn together. Because think about it. Some of you, the IT stuff is going to click. For others, they're like, nah, that's not for me. It may be the business credit stuff that works for you. Other people, it may be trading. Some of you may not have time to focus on the trading, but because you can get business funding, you may want to invest with me, right? There's so many different avenues of leverage and opportunities that we are going to be providing for you, which is why we have our final lifetime membership sale going on right now. This
Yes.
is not a cheap, cheesy marketing tactic. The information that we are giving you, this is actionable information. This isn't information that you can't act on. This is information and skills that you will definitely be able to recoup the money that you are out here spending if you do the work. After
Absolutely.
the next 5 days, there will be no more lifetime access. Lifetime memberships won't even exist anymore. There's going to be a one-time fee of $6,000 and then an annual renewal of $1,000 because the information that we are teaching is just that valuable. This man
Yeah.
has over 12 years of experience. He is not someone that went and read a book, right? He didn't go to a Hotep lecture, right? He didn't learn from Dr. Sebi, right? He didn't go ahead and do none of that. This is the man who put the work in, who went to school, who worked in the field, who has built projects, and he has proven himself to be extremely knowledgeable. So I'm excited to have him on board. I'm excited for what he brings to the table. I'm excited for those of you who have partnered up with My Tech Academy. We currently have a sale still going on. The link is in the bio right now.
Mhm.
We have 5 days left for you to take advantage of that. Do you have anything that you want to close with, Chuck?
You know what? I'll build upon that. I want you guys to know that with this with this partnership with my Academy, I have a three. To, I have a, I, if you said 3 to 5 year plan, I'm with you on that 3 to 5 year plan. I'm gonna be putting out content very regularly in my Academy for the next couple of years, at least a couple of years at least. Like I'm gonna be adding to this IT course until you all tell me to stop. I'm not gonna stop until you tell me, Chuck, we've had enough tests, we've had enough quizzes, there's enough videos. Until that point, I will be giving out content because I want you guys to understand that if your investment into this is important because I'm not just here to do this. I'm here to see that you succeed. I'm here to just give you the skills you need to succeed. I want to make sure you have everything. Whether it's I'll have a course on understanding certain of the jargon that's involved. I want you to really get the basics of everything. I want you to walk into a room and be the most confident person in that room. And I'm saying, but the point I'm saying is, if you take this course with that, even if you just sign up for just taking IT and you will leave with the confidence to walk into a room and say, "I know this thing. I can build this thing for you. Oh, you have this issue. I can solve it." It won't be like, "Oh, I can try to." I'm like, "Oh, I will." It's I can. That's the most important thing.
There we go. So, with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for coming on, Chuck. The IT course is available right now for all members at the $100 level, at the free trial, as a lifetime member. We're going to understand these are evergreen courses, meaning there's going to be more content added to these courses as we go forward. There's going to be additional courses added on to that as well. When I first got started with My Tech Academy, we only had two courses. It was Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now we have over 14 different products in back there to offer you guys in building. There's a wealth of information coming on board. So, like I said, man, please click the link below. I'm giving you guys more than enough time. We even have payment plans through PayPal with no interest for those of you who can't afford to spend the 3K up front. You can go through PayPal and get a no interest loan for 6 months as well and make small incremental payments. So at the end of the day, listen, there's enough content in there right now. We're adding so much more content. Like I said, the course on trading, we start trading live in the markets on the 21st.
Yep.
That will be taught by me. You'll be able to come into a room. You'll be able to see my screens. I'll be showing you guys my different strategies. I even shared in the communities tab my results. Within 3 days, I made over $8,000. For the week, I'm up over $14,000 on this trading week alone. So just think about that. For a $3,000 investment, you have a skill set that could potentially earn you that type of capital. And when we're talking about futures, you don't need a lot of money to get started with futures. You only need $500 of actual per contract that you trade. And obviously, you need margin for if your account goes up and down. And then you could trade minis. That's a tenth of that. You can open up an account with $500. So understand, we're going to be teaching you guys a wealth of different skill sets. So thank you for coming on, Chuck. We're going to wrap it up here. A link to take advantage of that offer is in the description. You guys have a blessed and beautiful weekend. For those of you who are members or becoming members, come into the Slack group, introduce yourself, and we can begin to start dialoguing. Good night, everyone.
There's consultations, by the way, for if anybody who wants to get like an actual like deeper thing. There's conversations available for everybody in there, for me, Eli, for Bruce. Take advantage of those. We're I block out a couple of hours of my time, and I think Eli does, and Bruce as well, that we are here for you guys. Take advantage of that. And then
Yeah, and all that information's in the Slack group in regards to
yep,
consultations, all that type of stuff. Come in there, engage, ask the questions, and we'll go forward. And don't worry, we're doing this frequently on our other YouTube channel, the My Tech Academy YouTube channel.
yes,
I've shared that before. So with that being said, guys, have a good weekend.
yeah.
All right,
Have a
Chuck,
wonderful weekend,
later.
guys. You're the best.
All right.